Okay, very good. Okay, what I have found that the evolution of the cloth of creation calls, while its foundation is that of the global energetics and beyond, this is exactly what's happening, the new weaves. Now that it's about a month or so now that we've been doing this, it has evolved into the teachings of dreams. Those of you who were here last week when that came up and I asked, would you like to have that? And all of you said yes. That's what we're going to work with tonight. And I said, if it turns out to be that way, we will take this to 2 weeks of dreams, if it turns out that way, because it is that important. Now, I am going to say to any of you, while every call that we have is recorded and is available on YouTube to listen to, if any of you during the teachings of dreams want to take notes, please do. You can certainly do that. That can help you a great deal. I will also give you something that can help you to go into a dream state consciously. Very, very important to do that. So, last week it was suggested to you by Joseph to write down your dreams. And any dreams that you've been able to do that with, as you're going through the teachings, you might find that they make more sense if they haven't already. So, with that, off and away into dream time, Joseph, so you can mute the calls.
All right. Dreamland.
Yeah. Let me know, Joseph, when that's so. Okay?
Yep.
Okay. Dreams. Throughout centuries, people have wondered about them, been intrigued by them, have been scared by them, have been in some way interested. Why do we dream? What's it about? Looked at that in many different ways, and what I've been given on that throughout the years is that there is just not one category of dreams, but several. So I'm going to first start with this, and then I will go to the categories and say a bit about each of those. Now, how does this help the global energetics? How does this help all? Knowing that the energetic is that which is the raw stuff of creation, that before form, then we know that dreams are simply the energetic taking another form. It may not have a physical form in dream time, but it can and does manifest physically. That's going to be part of these teachings. First of all, dreams have a language just like anything else. Its language, however, is symbols. So that's why you might see a symbol. You might see something that doesn't seem to make any sense, but if you look at the dream in its complete context, not just that symbol, it does make sense. Okay? So let's go into the categories. The first one is the daily review, your day. From the moment you got up to the time you go to sleep, you go through life just like you do any day, and that's going to show up in your dreams. It's just a daily review. So you might see symbols of your daily life and not realize that's what it is. I'm going to give you something in a very simplistic form, but nevertheless it will serve in this case. Let's say you're driving down the road and somebody cuts you off and you say, You're nothing but a road hog. You are. Okay. In your dream, you might see a pig that's chasing you or bothering you in some way. That's simplistic. I will give you that. But nevertheless, it can be seen like that. Okay. Another category that goes very usually into every night's sleep is guidance. And we're going to talk quite a bit about that. There are two other categories that happen not as often, quite infrequently, and can even be rarely happen. One is vision. This is where you are actively participating or seeing something happening. This is not premonition. This is a vision. A premonition is, the word just simply is telling you that some feeling of something that's going to happen in the future. That may or may not be so. It's usually just guidance to tell you that something is happening. And I will give you an example of that in a moment. Then we come to nightmares. Okay? Nightmares, again, remembering that all in dreams are symbols. That's the language. Right? So what is a nightmare? It's simply unfinished business, something that's gotten stuck, something that's gotten stuffed. Instead of being dealt with, it may, through the lower self, wish to stay safe, take on a scarier form than it actually is. A lot bigger than it actually is. Could be nothing in actuality if it's dealt with, but if it isn't, it may take on a scary symbolic form in dream. And if you know that, it takes the fear out of it. And what's more, you can participate actively by consciously dreaming and resolving whatever that unfinished business is right there and then in your dream time. And that, well, all that's need to be said about that, it's done then. Okay, so there's that. Okay. Guidance dreams. Let me talk more about that, because those are ones that usually show up every night. This is spirit within, your higher perceptual self, your primal self, known by many names. This is where it seeks out and brings into an intact state by bringing forth the guidance of what any situation is. Now, let's take that bit further. If you understand that everything in your dream is some symbol of you, nothing outside of yourself, then it makes that dream a whole lot easier to understand, more simple. So say you have a dream and you see people that you know in it. It's not about those people. Most of the time it isn't. It's something, some symbol that person represents to you of some aspect of yourself. How are you interacting in the dream? What is the environment you're in? Are you in a building? If you are, how is it set up? Are the rooms large and airy and bright? Are they not? Are they something of both? Are there windows? Are there doors? Is it in a good state of repair? Is it not? Are you outside? What is the environment outside? If you are in a building and you look, there is a window or a door and you look outside, what is the weather? What is the state of the weather, of the ground, of the sky? If you're outside, what is it doing outside? These are all symbols of yourself. Now, this is where it is essential, vital, that you do not take this as some kind of good or bad, but rather simply guidance. That's all that it is. How is it your environment is bright? How is it not? What are you doing to make it bright? What are you doing that's not? Are you resisting anything? Are you open to things? What are you open to? All of this shows up in your dreams. And if you see that, it makes it very clear what the dream is. And not to take it through the lower self personal construct that wants to judge and criticize. Well, you did it wrong. That's why it showed up in the dream. Oh, no. Throw that away. You know our little saying now, stop it, drop it, move on? Well, this is certainly one of those cases. Okay? See it through your higher perceptual self. The condor, the eagle sitting on the mountain, rather than being caught in some construct that won't see beyond itself. And in that way, you can truly understand your dreams. So, let's take this even a bit further. How does that help the global consciousness? Because spirit within the higher perceptual primal self is actively working in dream time. Everything that happens there has nothing between it. No stories, no everyday chatter of life. It just simply it is. So whatever is resolved there is being rippled out through the Kepacha. So even in that way, you participate. I will in a few minutes ask to open the line because I can feel all of you saying, I want, yes, I'd like to say more. Yes. Okay. I'll give you all that in a few minutes. Now, I told you something about premonition. That doesn't mean that it's something good or bad. It's simply guidance of a strong possibility of something that could happen. That doesn't mean it will. That doesn't mean to get yourself in an upset state. Just simply, okay, I have the guidance to step in as I am guided to do, to know what to be done to get that out of the way. It can also be showing you something that can be happening. When I was a little girl, there was someone who had been away, and we were all waiting to hear when this person was coming back. I must have been about 7 or 8 years old. I had a dream where I'm sitting at a window and I'm looking outside and I see way in the distance something coming. I woke up, went through the day. The next night I went to sleep, had the same dream, and this time whatever was in the distance was about halfway to where this window was. Again, woke up, went through the day. That night went to sleep and had the dream one more time. Whatever had been in the distance and the middle is now at the window saying everything will be all right. The next day we got word the person was coming home. Okay, now I was only a small one when that happened. And of course children haven't the veils that adults do. So I just accepted it to be what it was. So that's just an example of something that was happening. Okay. When we go into a little more, we will go more into each category. Joseph, I will ask you to open the phones, and as he's doing that, folks, I would like you, any of you would like to ask or comment on anything in the teachings that was just given, please do that. Okay, tell me. Okay. Okay. Yeah. And people, any noises be aware of noises around you so that while the lines are open, it can be a quiet place. So, okay, except when you're talking. Please don't be quiet then. Okay, so anything about that first part of dreams?
One question came to mind for me is, how do you clearly distinguish premonition from vision?
Okay. Well, I'm going to give you that too.
Yeah.
All right.
That's going to come. That's coming. Any, and I will give that in the next piece once the phones are closed again. But anyone else? Any questions about them?
Can I ask about a symbol?
Just come out with whatever you got.
Okay, quite often I live a few blocks from the ocean, okay? And very, very often I dream that I am at the beach and I see flying transportation. It could be a bus in the sky, it could be a plane or a very odd object, and then it turns very fearful. The ocean there might be tidal waves or bombs exploding.
Okay, Mary Lou, if you give me permission, I can give you a good idea of what that dream is about, using your dream to help yourself and all others who are with us to perhaps get a better understanding of what I meant by in a guidance dream such as that is. Every aspect of it is a symbol of yourself.
Okay.
Do I have your permission to do that?
Oh, yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mary Lou is talking about a dream where she is at the ocean and she's seeing unusual objects flying around the sky. She's saying that she feels a feeling of fear. Okay, if we were to look at each of that, Mary Lou and all of you have a look at that each of those symbols are some aspect of yourself. What is the ocean? It's movement, it's life. It can be smooth, it can move in any different ways. The symbols in the sky, what are they? Some aspects of yourself that know the unusual, the extraordinary. Some aspects of that, those are aspects of yourself that are quite real. The aspect of feeling fearful. An ordinary situation made fearful. I'm not going to interpret it entirely for you because then you can have the gift of realizing it yourself. So by looking at the state of the sand, the state of the ocean, the objects in the sky, the feelings that happen, what did the sky look like? Was it bright? Was it stormy? What was it like? What happened? What were the colors? Were others around? These are all symbols of you. And by looking at them through your higher self, you're seeing aspects of yourself that are free and flying in whatever way, freely, in the free forms that they are. Yet what aspect of yourself steps in fear? What's the fear? What aspect of that is you? Look at the ocean. What aspect of is that of you? Does it move? Is it choppy? Is it wavy? How is it? What is the sand like? Does it feel solid to stand on or does it not? What are the colors? What are they like? In the sky, the water, the land, everything. What does it look like? So perhaps if you're looking at it through those different eyes, not the everyday, ordinary construct eyes, but rather through the higher perceptual primal eyes, you may see that it has, it makes much more sense than if you try to do it through some safety of the lower self. It may be. Not only you, Mary Lou, but anyone else here, anyone else have the sense of what that dream was about?
I do.
Mary Lou, you first. Yes. Let Mary Lou first respond. Okay. Yes, and Allison, and then you can. Yes.
Well, it's always a beautiful day, and then then I see vividly, as if I'm awake. Oh, look at that thing in the sky. I can't believe I'm looking at that. And then it all turns just so chaotic and scary. And I think this is probably, after you explaining this stuff, and Fran, you know me, I mean, medically, I've always had these...
Just keep on going. Just keep on going.
Turmoil of, am I dying? What is this? Oh, what's this on my skin?
Okay,
it must
stay
be...
with this. Stay with the dream.
Okay.
This is funny I don't think we need to record your private work. No.
Right. So. Okay. I don't know. It's making kind of more sense to me now that you've explained some of this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and see, any of you, whatever dreams that you've brought to this gathering this evening, look at it in that aspect, and you may be even now realizing what your dream meant. It might be coming much clearer to you. And even after the call has been completed and we go on, as you're thinking about it, you might just see, through perceptual thinking, you may just see that the dream makes a lot of sense. So, yes, Allison, you were going to say something briefly.
Just wanted to say a little bit about what I thought maybe it meant. And I put it, I realized that it's bright out, and then all of a sudden it gets real dark. And she sees some form of transportation, and she's out in the open, and I think it's some way telling her she's free to move on. And then the darkness is her fear and of moving on. But I think she's pretty much.
Tell Mary Lou. Mm-hmm.
That sounds like certainly the right track.
There you go.
Yeah, never done that before.
Well, there you go. This is we're on higher grounds here, folks. Thank you, both of you.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Okay. Any other something about the dreams that they have brought before we go further on to each of these?
I have dreams of mass destruction. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if they're for the future, they're visions, but they're really strange.
Well, dreams frequently are.
The last one it had already happened. I guess a bomb went off or something. The buildings were all totaled out, and the water was flowing down the street, and there were cats on top of things, and they were like putting their paws down in the water like trying to get fish, and they were looking up at me and giving me like a Cheshire cat smile, like you're not getting any of this. But everything had cats on it, and it just was going down the street on top of boxes, cars, everything.
Okay, again, take your dream and look at it as aspects of yourself. Mass destruction doesn't particularly mean that it was a bad thing. That may sound odd, but it isn't. Sometimes the house has to collapse in order for everything new to grow. So it's how you engage it in dream and in real time and in physical time is how that house gets built anew. But yes, somebody was going to add something.
The cats don't have to be cats, do they? I mean, the cats don't mean that they're cats. It could be something else.
Remember, they're symbols of yourself. Symbols of yourself. Okay, perhaps it might be easier for you to understand that part. If you realize that everything in that dream is some aspect of yourself, whether it be a person or a non-human like a cat,
and
what is it about? I'm sorry?
No, I was just going to say I found one thing with a dream like that. One thing that may help is physically writing it out and then reading it again.
Okay.
Just because
I did write that. I don't have.
Gives you a picture of it, symbolically.
We'll get back to that part. If you were, remember, looking at every aspect of your dream as some symbol of yourself, what is the core? What is the core of that symbol? What is a cat? A cat
they were like alley cats.
Okay,
they were street cats.
Let's stay with this, please. Is that a cat is what? It is a wild creature, even if it's domesticated. It's still a non-human. It perceives. It's a mystical creature. So look at it that way. If you see a person that you know in your dream, it's not that person usually, but what is that person about? That person, someone who might seem grumpy on the outside but is a kind, loving person on the inside. That's some aspect of yourself. Is that person just plain old grumpy person? Some aspect of yourself. Okay? So look to every aspect of your dreams as some aspect of yourself. Joseph, I'm going to ask you to mute the phones, please.
Oh, okay. I understand what you're saying now. Even the smile it was giving me.
Yes. Joseph, I'm going to ask you to mute the phones, please.
We'll get it. You can go ahead.
We got it? Okay.
Yeah.
So, it takes some time just to, like any other language you learn, it takes some time. So, if you have a dream and you see somebody in it that you know, and let's say it's a dream where something's happening to that person, instead of immediately jumping into the story, oh no, what's happening to him or her, take that out. That's the lower self trying to write a story about it. Look at the symbol. What's happening in your life? What are the situations in your life? What are you trying to do in those situations? How are you reacting or responding in those situations? How is that person a symbol of that reaction or that response? That changes how you will understand dreams. Again, folks, I know this takes a bit of time, but I know it's very likely you're all gaining some clarity even now of what your dreams are. Okay? Now the question was asked, what's the difference between a vision and a premonition? The field, for one, the energetic field is very different. Premonition very often is where you are looking out. You are outside of a situation. You're looking in to what's happening or what is potentially going to happen. That's You're not in it. You're outside watching in. Okay. A vision is you are there. You are there, and you know it physically, consciously, and you might even in that dream state say, I know I'm dreaming. I know I am in a dream, yet I know I am here, and I see. I see what's happening here. The feel is very, very much different, and a very strong feeling of being present and seeing what's happening. Not only watching what's happening, but you are there. You are in that dream participating. And in that way, that is well beyond only you, because it very often shows you what's happening at the energetic at any given time. I will tell you a vision I had a while ago, a few months ago, that this may help you to have a better understanding and why I am so very much engaged in bringing all of us together in the one that we are to get things done. I was in what looked like a jungle, and there were many native peoples there, all in a state of preparation and all talking about what's coming. We have to prepare. We must be together. We have to get this done. We can't do it alone. And as everyone, and there was a river there, and the jungle surrounded it. The colors were primal. Deep primal colors. And as I stood there, watching and listening and helping, doing what I could to help prepare, and the feeling of there's so much to do. There's not enough of us who are conscious stepping up to do this. How can we do this? Only with the villages, the people that are here. We have to do this together. But nevertheless, we kept going. We kept preparing. And even as we did, way out in the distance, there seemed to be a huge fire erupted. And it felt like, someone said mass destruction. That's what it felt like. It felt like everything had caught fire and blown up, and it felt like, oh no, this shock wave has come. What can we do now? What can we do? And instead of, even though the fears came and there was some running around in chaos, we still knew we had to do this. And as we came getting further and further down to where this massive fire and all was happening, there's this feeling of all of us coming together was perfect, folks. And we got it done. We brought it into control. It did not take over. We got it done. And this was a vision of this was not just a dream. This was a vision because I was consciously there, knowing this is what we can and do together. Of what is coming, what we can do and will do together. I woke up that dream ecstatic and at peace, knowing that even though that happened, we brought it into control so that it did not destroy and that life and light prevailed. That's the difference between that in a premonition. That was extraordinary. There's been others, and I'm not going to go into all of those right now, but I will say that it is possible for everyone to have that happen, be one who can vision in dreams. But it must be that first all of the personal is stepped aside. First, all. I will give you all a couple of moments to comment about that, and then we will go further into all of the categories further. And I do encourage you to ask questions. And like I said, if we do run out of time in this evening, we can take it again into next Monday, but let's go on. So, Joseph, open the phones one more time.
Yep, they're open.
Okay, anyone?
Hi, Fran. This is Linda, and
yeah.
I was just wondering, like when you mentioned about you was going to share a vision with us, and I was just wondering, is that the time when you called me about what you saw? Or
what I just recently called you about?
Yes.
In the last few days?
No, absolutely not. No.
Oh, yeah, no, the one. Oh, yes, a few months ago. Yes. This is it. A few months ago. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I thought
yes,
that's what it was. Yes.
Yep. Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
So was that an out-of-body experience?
No. That's something way different. I will address that real quick right now. An out-of-body experience is when someone is consciously awake and for whatever reason, shape, or form, spirit within is shunted out of the body. That's a whole different story. We're talking about dreams.
Is that how, can you have an out-of-body while you're sleeping?
Okay, see, there's a bit of a confusion there. When your physical body is sleeping, it is at rest. It's replenishing its physical reserves. Spirit within that body that gives life to that body is free to travel to wherever it is to go for guidance or for whatever reason. That's not an out-of-body experience. An out-of-body experience is one is consciously awake, and for some reason, for whatever reason, is shunted out of that physical body, so that one that very often to describe looking down and seeing the physical body laying there or sitting there. That's a whole different thing. No.
Okay.
That's
all right.
Another subject altogether. Maybe another call, but not right now.
Okay.
I've experienced that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, how about any of you about that? Did that help you gain a better understanding of the difference between vision and premonition?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, to a good degree, yes.
Okay.
Just sort of made me feel that, like, because I get sort of in glances into things sometimes. It's not really ever like much of vision, I would say. It's more premonitions, just sort of like split second sort of seeing things. But it's not really ever like a completely intact, like I'm there, like a vision.
Mhm. Yeah. No, it's a completely different feel. You are there as present as you are in your physical body, wherever you are right in this moment. I knew I was in that jungle. Just as when I physically have been to the jungle, just like that.
So that would mean that the people saw you.
Yes.
And they would relate back to you, we saw you that day. And you
Yes.
would know that you were there.
Yes. And it's happened.
Okay.
I've had that
Now,
happen.
can you wake up and have dirt on you, or
No.
can your physical body?
Your physical body remains
Stays
where it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the bed, wherever it's sleeping. So remember, spirit has gone to wherever it is, but it will manifest so strongly that you consciously know you're there.
Fran,
Okay.
I
Yes.
wonder if I could just ask quickly. I've had that happen with another person, and then in the dream, very real experience, and then the next day I saw that person in actuality, a person that I wouldn't, so what does that mean when you actually see that person the next day? Or
that's just part of whatever that guidance in that dream, that vision was about. In that dream, that wouldn't be a vision. That's just something, guidance, that was a guidance dream.
Okay.
Whatever was guided for you to meet that person, only you would know that.
Okay.
You see, this is where I'm going to encourage each and every one of you that even after the call is complete, to continue to look at your dreams, and its meaning will come more clearly. I know there's a lot of dream dictionaries and all of those out there.
Yeah.
It's not particularly needful to use those because they take it outside of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you see a fence, it means this. If you see a chair, it means that. But rather, look within yourself. Okay, what was that fence? I saw a symbol of a fence in my dream last night. Look to it. Is it some aspect of yourself that you're keeping walled in, fenced in? What are you keeping? And see, look at it from that aspect, and it will change it. Now, how would you all like to be your own dream directors?
Yeah.
How would it? Yeah. How would it be that when you went to sleep at night and the dreams began, that you were consciously aware of them? And not only consciously aware of them, but that you could step in and change its outcome. Because people say, how can you do that? How in the world can you do that? You're sleeping and things are going on in that dream, and it's like you're watching a movie, and how do you change the scenes in the movie? Well, here we go. Joseph, please mute the phones.
All right.
Tell me when.
You can go ahead.
Okay. Okay. When you lay down at night, that that little bit of time after you've laid down, before you sleep, it's kind of like a twilight place where your body is starting to relax and rest more. And it may be that you're reading or whatever you do. Well, after you've put the book down or turned off the TV or the music or whatever you do, and you're laying there, before you actually drowse into sleep, tell your physical body, your lower self physical body, that you are going to remember your dreams. It takes some time, but it does happen. And it may not mean that you remember every one of your dreams, and that's because it's not necessary that you do. The daily review is not something that usually is necessary to keep conscious or even to do anything about. It's just simply going through the events of the day. It may be, though, that it comes up that you are going over some situation that you saying to yourself, well, maybe you could have handled it better. in your dream time, consciously, at that moment when that situation shows itself in a daily review, you can step in consciously, oh, this is the situation, and change it. So the engagement changes. It takes time. It takes practice, but it can help, and it does work. Why is it important? Because remember now, spirit is in the energetic itself. So everything that is occurring there can and will physically manifest in physical life. So by you consciously working with your dreams while you are in your dream, you are consciously creating its physical manifestation in the waking world. How about that? Yeah. So, what people who can find it difficult to sleep, there is a visualization. I would say, please don't do the visualization right now because you might go to sleep in the call. So you want to just hold on to it for later. Is that in that state before you sleep and you've told your body that you are going to consciously dream and will consciously step into your dreams, the dream director, and actually participate in the dreams. A visualization to help you to sleep in a calmer, more peaceful state is to envision yourself sitting by a river. And as anything comes along to disturb your sleep, envision it perhaps as a leaf that you put in the river and let the river take. As each leaf goes into the river, you can find yourself falling deeper, deeper, deeper into a peaceful, restful sleep. And in that way, spirit more easily, more simply can travel. And your body can get much better rest. That will help. So when you find yourself in the night while you're sleeping and a dream is coming, you have already told yourself that you will consciously dream. Now, you're going to know when it is a dream that best serves with you being an active participant. This is where you get to step in. Now, it isn't as would only serve you the best, because you know our code, what I do for myself, I do for the greater good, not because it serves me only, but because it serves us all. So whatever that situation is, showing itself in the symbols of dream, step in consciously, and however the higher perceptual primal self guides you to do, change it. So that all engagements become that of peace, that are intact. Nothing of the personal construct defending or keeping itself safe. Perhaps now you can see how this does ripple through the K-Pacha, the global consciousness, because you are actively participating at the energetic spirit within you. The higher perceptual primal self is doing that. And that helps more than your lower self can ever even begin to imagine. It takes time. Now, the next part of this is you might want to keep a pad and pen by your bed or a recorder of some type to record your dreams in some way. The faster you do it, the more it stays clear. Until you get to the point where you can sleep the night and the next morning, recall the dream, bring it all the way back up to consciousness and record it then. That take some training, but you can do that. But at least at this point, begin it that way. And this way, you have a physical recording to look back at when you awake for the day. And in that time, you might want to put yourself in a quiet place and read that dream through your higher eyes as well as your lower eyes, and perceive what that dream is about. If it's a guidance dream, to read it through symbols. What were those symbols? What was that about? Most of them are, folks. Most of them are. And that includes nightmares. It takes the fear out of it when you know it's not anything outside of you menacing you, but rather something within yourself that you just haven't finished, that got stuffed for whatever reason it did. Instead of in any way judging and criticizing yourself about it, now you're ready to look at it. Okay, I see this now. Okay, that big ugly that was in my dream last night trying to scare me. Okay, so that big ugly is in me somewhere. Let's have a look at that. When the higher perceptual primal self looks at it and sees it for what it is, now you know, and you say, oh, okay, I'm done with that. However it is, forgiving yourself, taking on other people's stuff, realizing you never had to do that, and sending it back to them with love and gratitude and compassion. And whatever way you are releasing it, pure light transforms all. So that big ugly isn't anymore. It's nothing. And that way, it's nothing that has any ability, any power over you, cannot scare you, because there's nothing scary about it. And that takes it a whole lot easier, that when something like that comes along, to realize, oh, okay, I see this. So I'm going to ask you to open them up, the phones, one more time. Anybody want to ask anything about that or comment anything about that? Tell me when we're all open.
Oh, we're there.
Okay. Everybody awake? Everybody awake? Okay. Yeah, that visualization can be very helpful, so I'm very happy to hear I'm not hearing snores.
I'm going to use that, though.
It's very
like
helpful.
Counting sheep. It's like counting sheep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Fran, this is Linda. I would like to add something about the vision. Some years ago, I was concerned. My aunt had passed, and I was concerned about, you know how they say when you die, you go to, you're judged and you go to heaven or you go to hell. And because of her, how I knew she was as a person, I was worried about what direction she went to, and so I wanted to know, and so I actually had a vision where I thought I was with her in this beautiful open garden. It was like how you go to a mall and you're inside and everything is just beautiful. The plants are all beautiful and green and everything, and we were walking holding hands, and she looked like maybe I've had visions of other dead loved ones, and whenever I see them, they're always at their prime. There's a time in our lives where I don't know.
What about her? What did she look like?
Well, she looked, this is what I'm going to say, she looked beautiful. She had a glow. Because she died of cancer, where she lost all her hair and turned different colors and everything. But she was glowing. She was smiling. Her hair was beautiful like it used to be. So it let me know that she was fine. And, but I know when I woke up that I was there with her. Not that I just saw her, but I was physically there in spirit.
Okay. Well, then you had that vision.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because you were physically there. And that is the indicator that it is a vision.
Yes.
But you see, even in that vision, it was beyond just you and your aunt. It showed you something beyond that, a larger, an infinitely more vast place than just she and you. Okay, so that shows that gives that feeling that you had in that vision, Linda. That is what went through the K-Pacha.
Mm-hmm.
That is what gave the hope and the sense of peace throughout the K-Pacha. Mhm. Yeah. Very good. Anyone else?
Fran? Yeah.
Yes.
After my dad died, a little bit after he died, maybe 3 years or something, I was sleeping and I didn't wake up, but I met my dad, and we were walking in an area that looked familiar to me. It looked like maybe a golf course because of the way the green was, and it had like rolling hills and stuff. Mm-hmm. And we were just talking about, I was worried about, did I have to talk to my uncle anymore? And my father said, the way he would, he said, no, F him. I'm gone. You don't have to.
Okay. Thank you for editing that. We appreciate that.
But he would have said that.
I don't know how YouTube would feel about that, so thank you.
He would have said that, though. And then we went inside of a building, and there was a hallway and doors. And he went behind this one door and closed it. And I knocked on the door, and I said, Dad. And he opened it back up. He said, I have to go now. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, I have to leave now, and you won't be seeing me anymore, but you will see me one day soon. And I said, I love you, Dad. He said, I love you, too. And that was basically it. And that was not a dream. I was there.
No.
I saw myself.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
You see, sometimes that can happen, and it doesn't necessarily only have to be loved ones or friends that have passed on that show up. It can be others that do show up in a visitation done through dream to give you some kind of a guidance, or just simply to bring a life experience to closure, to completion. That can happen too, and that could very well be it. And the feeling will be very much that you're there. Mm-hmm. Very, very much. Because remember, a vision and a visitation, these are actual experiences that spirit is actually in that place. And even these words are not really the words I would like, but human language is limited. Mm-hmm. So they are very much so because it is actively being there, not just watching. You see, remember the guidance dreams where you're watching, but you are actively, when you know, to step in and actively participate. Daily review is like just watching the movie of the day and knowing, okay, this one I can step in and I can change the engagement and do it. Vision and visitation in dreams is actually being in that. Actually
Fran?
In it, yes.
Just something that just came into my mind, and maybe we can talk about this another time because we're doing dreams now, but is transcendental energy or thought, even with people who are alive. I don't know. That just came into my head. So,
okay, but that's what we are. That's what we've been working with always in these calls. The energetic itself. The energetic itself.
And that has something to do with the transcendental energy thought?
Okay. Transcendental energy. Okay, we're talking about the energetic itself. That can be a term that can be used, perhaps, when one speaks about the energetic, possibly. The energetic itself is the raw stuff of creation. That is pure energy, beyond thought, before form. So when we are working with and at the energetic itself, we are working in its purity, in its most quintessence. Okay? Its purest essence.
Okay.
Before the need for thought. Before the need for anything other than just simply it is. The feeling that it is. So, yeah. And this is what we've been working with, yes. So, I know we're getting close. We've got 10 minutes or so. But we can take this each category further in the next, as we continue here and into next week, if you would like. But ask your questions.
Hi, friend. This is Susan.
Yes.
I'm just wondering now, when you say the energetic, I mean, is it something that's always around us, or do we have to make a conscious effort to meet it? Or
okay. Well, okay, that's fine. The energetic itself is the raw stuff of creation. If all physical form was gone, what would be left? Pure energy. So it's nothing that we connect to because we already are one. So the energetic is that, as I say, the raw stuff of creation. So that an example might be that you go into a place and there's a person there who's, let's say, is in a grumpy mood. And you steer clear of that. You felt it, you know it, and you're not going to have anything to do with it. So you steer away from it. But you notice that everyone else is getting a little grumpy themselves. Okay? Now maybe it's starting to touch you, so there's a bit of grumpy in there now.
Sounds like you've done my job.
So what happens? So what do? What you're doing is the energetic itself, knowing that it is the raw stuff of creation before thought, before form, you felt it when you walked in the room. Your choice of engagement, conscious choice of the engagement, kept you out of any engagement that you didn't want.
Okay.
In the moment that there was that sense of something changed, you got caught into what was happening. By paying attention to that perceptual ping that says, there's no thought, there's no form, There's no point of reference, just uh-huh. In that very instant, through the higher perceptual primal self, your choice is what affects what happens at the energetic and its consequent physical results.
Very like a ripple.
If that answers your, yes.
It does, yes, thank you.
Law of
Almost
attraction.
like if somebody holds up a bank and how people, I'm just thinking while you're talking, like I've seen on TV, in a show, like a man holds up the bank, but he's got all these people held hostage, and just how everybody reacts to him.
Right. Yes, yeah. I'm going to take that further for a moment, Allison.
Okay.
If there were one person in that situation that was fully conscious and could soar high beyond the physical self stories, which would all be based in deep fear at that time, but fly above it and see what it is, that flight in itself can change the energetics and break that hold.
I love that.
And it's that real. That's true. I'm going to tell you something I did today. I had to bring my van to the mechanic. So I'm sitting there waiting for my ride. Beautiful day today. Beautiful, beautiful. The sky, I don't know how many of you were out today, but certainly here on the East Coast, this was a beautiful, beautiful sky. The most blue that I have seen in quite some time. It was just beautiful. So I'm sitting there, and I'm letting whatever flows, because remember, the act of doing becomes the state of being. So I'm just being. And the thoughts of that action, ISIS, and this is something that's been coming to me for a while, is how that term they're using for their action is such a corruption of the sacred goddess of light, Isis. And so I called to that sacred goddess of light, Isis, and said, if it is your will, for these are corrupting, perverting your pure sacred energy, your pure sacredness of light. And I felt her. Now I'm going, even as I'm speaking of this to you, are any of you feeling this? Is any of you feeling this?
I think so, yeah.
And that's how real it is, folks. I know she heard. I know that she heard. However she will manifest, whatever it is she will manifest, I know it to be so. If that answers the question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how one can truly step in. This is not as I would have it or what I want. It has nothing to do with me. It has to do with all of us, for we are one. Not only at this place, on this planet, but everywhere and every when. For what we do now, in this moment, the ripples are beyond what can be comprehended. And this is why it is so seriously vital that all realize that we must step in together in the one that we are, consciously, physically, showing up together and get things done. What do you feel about all that, even as I speak? What did you feel?
I felt like I have to conquer the physical to get to where you're saying that I should go.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
You see, that is part of the construct that has to be dissipated, removed from the weave, no longer be part of the energetic weave, the personal. It can't be. Just simply can't be. Just simply can't be. So, I know we're getting very close to the completion. So, I am going to ask all of you to just bring out what you have come to know from this gathering. And before we do close, I'll have Joseph mute the phone one more time, and then we will take a brief flight to have a look at the K-Pacha of what has taken place from what we have, this gathering has brought forth. So what, if any, of you got before we go into that, before we complete? Anybody?
Well, I just felt this is Susan, very just in awe, very sort of awestruck. And I think it just means get involved with your own life, right? Get involved with what's happening.
Get involved beyond your own life.
Right. Beyond the person. Yeah, like you keep saying, right.
Indeed.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because you see, that's what's right, because that's exactly what's been happening. People have been involved in their own lives. So instead of being involved in only your own life, get involved beyond your own life. Yeah.
Right. Get involved in life.
Every life. All life. Yes. Magnificent.
What I get friend is that we have to step in, we have to show up and change the atmosphere of what's going on to bring it to a higher level.
Yep.
And we're all accountable.
Right.
No excuses. No excuses about being too busy, too tired, too not enough money, no stories anymore. Absolutely none.
Yeah.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Yes.
Very, very well done.
You know, when we want something really bad enough, we find a way, even if it hurts us. You know, but then when something's good for us, we say, oh, well, I can't do that.
Right, exactly. All kind of excuses.
Right. But, you know.
Someone once said, she said, it costs too much to not do this work. Very wise statement.
Yes.
Very wise statement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So let us take that journey to just see now the state of the K-Pacha. The K-Pacha is the energetic, for you who are new, the energetic grid of the Pachamama, the Mother Earth. We've been traveling there and seeing its state. How is it flowing? Its color, its sense. What do you perceive? Just know what you know. Some people feel, some people sense, some people see color, some people hear sound, some people do any of that or none of that, but just simply know. So there's no right or wrong way to know what you know with this. Just know what you know and know it to be. So I'm going to ask you to mute the phones one more time, Joseph.
All right. Here you go.
Tell me when you're okay. Okay, folks, I'm going to ask you all to center and ground. Standing upon the Pachamama, letting the tensions, all of the everyday life of this day, giving it to her as she will take it gladly, centering and grounding, knowing that your physical body is held safe and secure, well protected by Pachamama and the sacred ones of light, sacred spirit guides of light who dwell here. We fly now, high above her mountains, her jungles, her plains, her waters, into her sky, past her clouds. Star Condor takes us further on the wings of Star Condor. We see the K-Pacha, this energetic grid, this energetic river, as they flow through the Pachamama. The Sekes, the Saiwas. Perceive them through your higher perceptual primal self. What do they look like? What do you perceive? What do you see? What do you know? How it is that the dreams of each and every being, how it is that it affects this K-Pacha, and how by consciously, actively participating in your dreams, the flow runs smoother, more intact. Thanking Star Condor, leaving gifts of gratitude and love. Star Condor and all the sacred ones of light. Returning now into the skies, past the clouds, the mountains, the jungles, the trees, the forests, the streams, the waters, back to the land, the plains, the deserts, the land itself. The belly of Pachamama, returning now fully into your bodies, fully centered and grounded. Return now into your current physical bodies in the time and place where you are, fully here, fully present. Be here. Hey, Joseph, you can open the phone. Let me know. Okay. Okay, folks. Fully be here. Center and ground in your bodies in the time and place where you are. Anything you'd like to say about that journey?
things weren't. So it's Allison. Things weren't in disarray as much as they have been. I have been seeing in the past 2 weeks. Actually, when we went back down to the ground, I could see into the water, and I could see fish, and things looked clean and clear, and I saw specks of yellow in the air, just like the color of corn, bright yellow corn, just sparkling in the air. And I think I'm not as concerned about Africa as I was. There's not that much fear, and that's why I don't see darkness.
Very well. How about anybody else?
I just really had a very nice trip. This is Susan again.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I saw a lot of water.
That's the energetic flow itself.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, I just kept thinking of the baby eagles in the nest.
Well, very, very well done. Now, folks, next week's call, we can continue on with dreams, if you would like. We can we can do that. We can continue on to wherever else this weave has taken us. I am deeply humbled and deeply honored to be the guide. I am, you see, understand something, folks, and many of you who have worked with us for some time know this. Every ceremony, every gathering, every journey, everything that we do is the first time that I have ever been there. I am always in a state of gratitude to be able to be a guide. And I thank you all for that.
And I'm grateful for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we continue on with dreams next week, if you would like, and wherever else it comes. Now,
please.
I am. You all know. I know you're all going to get a good night's sleep tonight, but you want to keep your dream journals, your dream recordings, however you want to do it, and we can get on with that. And I do ask all of you that if anything comes to you that you feel you have been given, that you know you've been given the guidance to bring into these gatherings, please, when we first step in together, bring that out. And we can weave that in, for we are the weavers. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fran.
Thank you. Thank you all. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone. Good night, Fran.
Bye-bye.
Good night.